Just getting started.
Hey, as y'all come in, make sure you are dropping in the chat and letting us know where you're joining us from. I'm actually gonna turn this off. All right, perfect. There we go. But as you're coming in, make sure you're dropping in the chat, letting us know where you're coming in from. We are super excited to host this session with you today to just give you a chance and the opportunity to learn from some of the people who've been there, okay, done that. And I'm super excited to kind of dive into that side of it. But as you are hopping in, let us know where you're joining us from. Tell us a little bit about your business. Okay, so far we have Las Vegas, we have Los Angeles, Atlanta. Let's see. LA again, Houston, Trenton, New Jersey. Atlanta is always in the building. Safir, you brought these people? These your people?
I did some. I got some transplants.
Baton Rouge, we have Indianapolis. Okay, we're in here. All right, let me get to sharing my screen. Perfect. Actually, let me change this up. Perfect. Can you see my screen now? Are we good? All right, there we go.
Yes.
Good. All right. So we've given it a little time. We kind of harped on a little bit behind, but that's fine. We're gonna give you some time as you keep coming in. Drop in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from. Also, where are you in the process of your application? Have you started the application? Have you submitted it and you just hopped on and hear, what it was like for other people? Let us know. Give us some insight and some information in terms of what's going on so we can know how to navigate this conversation, and then also give us a chance to support you. Okay, we got a submitted application in this chat. Let's one time. Love it. Congratulations. Chris is submitted. Nice. All right. Okay. So I'm hoping that this conversation continues to, I'm hoping, I know that it will, because we brought the right people on, right? So it's going to just amplify you and let you know, one, you already moved into the right direction, and give you some insight in terms of how things are as a part of the prize competition and then thereafter as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Before we hop into our panel discussion, we're going to go over a quick overview of the prize competition. We're going to give a little space for some question and answer. I will ask my questions to the panel first, and then I'm going to give you space and time to ask the questions that you have. So that'll be that applicant question and answer section. But just before we hop into that, I wanted to give you a background into Black Ambition. So Black Ambition was started in 2020 with the vision from Pharrell Williams to focus on closing the racial wealth gap and creating opportunities for underrepresented founders who are often overlooked by traditional VC capital, and making sure that we're constantly allowing and creating space for our businesses to develop and thrive, because we know that in the community, there's no lack of genius, but sometimes there's a lack of opportunity. So it gives us this space to empower. And one other thing is creating community. So we focus on building around what we call our 3C model, and that's focusing on capital, coaching, and community. So as you can see, we are embodying continuously the work that we are setting out to do. And then as we continue to focus on, moving forward, we're adding in more programming in addition to the Black Ambition Prize competition. But since we're on the topic of the 2025 prize competition, let me just give you a quick rundown. We are investing in 5 different verticals. So consumer products and services, healthcare, media and entertainment, technology, and artificial intelligence. If you have not started your application, Samia has just dropped the link to the Apply Now page to our website in the chat. It has a ton of information on there. When I tell you she did her thing with putting all this information on this website, we have a Q&A section that also has more information to help you fill out the application as well. But this prize competition allows eligible ventures to compete for $20K to $100K investment. Now, we seen, like I mentioned throughout the work that we've done, we've seen that capital, coaching, and community have constantly been the pillars that entrepreneurs need to thrive and, build something scalable and grow. But in addition to that, we have a cohort-based mentorship, exclusive training opportunities, opportunities connect with global brands. We put you in the rooms with the people who are making the things happen. Okay, that's another thing, leveraging access that is within the organization when it comes down to support with graphics and design, and then also marketing support. We're constantly looking for ways to amplify the work that our founders are doing. And honestly, they do a good job themselves because they constantly have wins. And I know they're going to tell you about some of these wins once we get into this conversation. Next is the timeline. So applications are open right now. They are closing in 1 week. So May 2nd is the last day to submit your application. Don't wait till the last minute. Give yourself some time next week to go ahead and submit your application. So sit down, finish it up, look through it before you submit it, and then go ahead and submit that application. In June, semifinalists will be notified, and then they will proceed to the Black Ambitionist mentorship program from July to October. During that mentorship program timeframe, we will be reviewing the supplemental application because there'll be like some additional questions we'll ask once you're moved on to the semifinalists. We'll look at those applications, review them, and the top 40 to 50 finalists will proceed, and that will be announced in September. So once September hits, you get that notification. Now you'll have the opportunity to participate in what we have as a public voting competition. Now, this is in addition to, it's not mandatory. I know some people were looking at it as, this is the only way to get a public vote competition, public vote, but this gives you the space and opportunity to earn funds in addition to the actual investment if you move on to the, if you're awarded through the pitch competition. So demo day is going to be in November of this year. So that is the rundown, how the program's going to go. Just another quick overview because that is the program that we've heavily invested time in, but just understanding how it's been impactful. To date, Black Ambition has awarded over $13 million to 131 diverse founders who are building businesses of the future. They have went on to generate more than $265 million in revenue and also raise over $280 million in capital. So that's showing you the results of the community, the capital, and the coaching programs. Without further ado, we are going to move into our panel conversation because y'all have heard enough from me, especially if you came to the information session. It's time for you to hear from the people who are on the opposite side of this, right? So super excited. The way that we have the panel today is our panelists are going to introduce themselves in the order that they are on this screen. And then what we're going to do is like popcorn some questions that I have. If you have some questions, you can drop them in the chat as well. But like I mentioned, there will be a section at the end of this where you can come off mute and ask the questions that you have. Okay. All right. So Safir, would you like to kick us off?
For sure. Hello, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. So my name is Safir Monroe. I'm a CEO and founder of Underlay. And basically, we provide a data analytics and logistics tool for airports to easily streamline a lot of day-to-day communication. So instead of using a lot of radios for conversations between one another, they communicate directly through our tool, through data analytics dashboards and different notification text messages. So we're in 4 airports right now, and we just recently featured on the Forbes 30 and 30 list, and we've been featuring Fox News and ABC for our work. So thank you very much, and it's great to meet everybody.
Absolutely. So we're super happy to have you here. I'm going to drop some information in the chat for you all to connect with him as well. DeShuna, you want to take it next?
Hey everybody, I'm DeShuna Spencer, and I'm the founder and CEO of Quelly TV. Quelly TV, we're the largest streaming platform that celebrates global Black stories from across the globe. We currently have over 800 titles representing here in America, Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, Europe, Australia. Quelly means truth in Swahili, and so our whole mission is to curate content that's a true reflection of the global Black experience, as well as dismantle implicit bias. Right now, with everything's happening, we feel like the work that we're doing is really important. Since launching Quelly TV, we not only have our consumer brand, but we also have a B2B side where we work with about 14 schools nationally. That's a little bit about us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you both. Nice to meet everybody. My name's KJ. I'm CEO and co-founder of Farm to Flame Energy, and we make carbon neutral electricity at half the cost of diesel while becoming the best versions of ourselves. And so we make generators. These generators are using multiple agricultural wastes like wood waste, corn stalks, paper waste, etc., to generate heat and power. And we work with corporations like Georgia Pacific, who have a lot of organic waste on site, and they have to pay a waste management fee to get it disposed of. So we completely eliminate that waste management fee and save them about 20% on their natural gas bill. If they're using diesel anywhere in their process, 50%. And so very excited to be here. We have $24.4 million in contracts for power plants for combined heat and power, as well as power sales. So selling the equipment, but also selling the power. Selling power like 50. And that's us. That's us. Thank you so much.
Round of applause to these beautiful Black people. My name is Enitan Bereola II. I am co-founder of St. Miles, a sanctuary for colorful brands, where we house one of the largest platforms to shop and discover Black and brown brands. My co-founder's son's name is Saint, and my son's name is Miles, and together we have St. Miles. We're building a heritage company where we are spreading the $5 trillion that we spend collectively in the community amongst our own ecosystem. And one of our pillars is outside live event activations. We're not only an e-commerce platform, but we have live event activations where we will have pop-up shops and retail opportunities for our brand partners, as well as partnership opportunities. So One Music Fest, the Shade Room, Good Soil. We have a lot of opportunities for our brands to kind of shine. And lastly, we don't just celebrate our partners, we celebrate ourselves. We have a souvenir shop, a St. Miles souvenir shop, soon to be released. And I am wearing one of one, soon to be one of many St. Miles coats that will be available for public consumption. Just wanted to add that note. Good to be here with everybody and look forward to answering all your beautiful questions.
Absolutely. So let me kick mine off because y'all know I have a lot of questions. But let's first talk a little bit about your experience as a Black Ambition Prize winner and a little bit about how like the organization has, supported or more about your entrepreneurial journey since being awarded.
Yeah, I'll go. So, Black Ambition has been huge for us. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of like the stories on IG and some of the great videos, but it's a network that's really gonna carry you. Obviously, Pharrell's name holds a lot of weight, but Black Ambition as a firm name holds a lot of weight in the VC world. No matter where I go, people kind of know of it or have heard of it, and it's important that you have a lot of backers. So when I go to fundraise, when I go to pitch, or when I go to connect with different people, whether that's in like San Fran, New York, and especially Florida, everyone really kind of has a sense of where we are, and who we are. And even when I went to Gainesville, people said what they've heard of the company, and I've never been to Gainesville in my life, so I think it's very important to build that overall network, and just from the learning perspective, it is great. So that's been huge for us from just winning Black Ambition, being a part of the family, and growing the company as well.
I'll go next. So for Quilly TV, it really brought validation to the company. People kind of like what Swift said, it really, people know what Black Ambition is whenever you go to meetings, but even on a personal level. So like last year, I got a chance to go to, because of Black Ambition, I got a chance to go to Martha's Vineyard for the very first time. And while there, I got a chance to go to this event on a whim and pitch my company. Because I pitched my company, they invited me to pitch in DC, and I got a chance to meet with some potential investors I'm having conversations with. That would never happen if I were never going to Martha's Vineyard, if Black Ambition would never invited me to go. And so it was something that I didn't know was an opportunity until someone reached out to me, actually a mentor for Black Ambition, Shane, said, hey, they bring some founders to Martha's Vineyard every year. And so one of the things I learned about being a Black Ambition Prize winner is making sure you're always put yourself out there, making sure that you're front and center, making sure that you're being remembered because amongst all of the founders. So whenever there's opportunity to be had, like they think of you and they consider you. And so because of Black Ambition, I've been able to get other opportunities just for being a prize winner. So not only have I gotten money from this, but I've also gotten other opportunities in addition to being a prize winner.
I agree, especially with what DeShuna said on one thing leads to another thing, which leads to another thing, and everything is connected. And I believe we are all connected. Even all of our actions are connected in this room. It's a one big system. And so I think I'm very grateful for Black Ambition for that. As we're raising money right now, um, yeah, and we're starting to get some commitments. We're talking to investors, and one of the investors, he was previously on a company that was a Black Ambition Prize winner. So, even like Safir said, there is familiarity with this program. It's been around about almost 5 years now. There's familiarity with this program. It definitely, it holds weight. So that's a beautiful thing. And the training, the training they give you is world class. I have two checks on this wall for 150 each, and I use the Black Ambition pitch because just candidly, I applied twice. I applied in 2022. I applied in 2024. I got it in 2024, and in 2022 I didn't get it. But I remember the same day, like they sent us to they sent a couple semifinalists to New York City for it was Black Entrepreneurship Day, and like Damon John was there, and like Big Sean was there, and he said something like so inspirational to me, and I was a little down because I didn't get the Black Ambition, but then I had another pitch, and I just took Big Sean's inspiration. I took my pitch that Black Ambition helped me practice, and I just went to another competition, won 150K first place, like the next day. So just even having that training and being very grateful for what's given to you, you could really use that to your advantage. So I think definitely the point where everything's connected, and one event could lead to the next, to the next. Thank you, Samaya. I appreciate that. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, everybody is dropping breakfast bars, even though it's lunchtime. I'd say the same thing. I mean, I agree. The process prepares you for the moment from the time you put the pen to paper, digital pen to the application and fill it out. You're already being prepared for what this VC, this investment world is. So, I mean, similar to my brother, I applied twice as well. And it was interesting because I didn't really, I've applied prior to this to two other programs, and we ended up winning. But this wasn't my lane in terms of VC, in terms of investment, in terms of making something public, like putting myself out there in a way that these ideas are going to be invested in by others, right? That wasn't really how I was used to maneuvering and showing up. For context, before this, I wrote 3 best-selling books. So I was like in solo entrepreneur, touring, and for like over a decade going on tours and doing all this stuff, and then transitioned into this space. And it was new for me. So I guess me being a bit timid, even though I'm from Silicon Valley, from the mecca of all of this tech stuff, it was just a little bit intimidating in the sense that I didn't want to show up in that way to be judged and accepted and received. So the first time we applied, we made it to semifinalists, and that was exciting. And I really had this energy like, oh, we're about to make it. My mama prayed for us. I was like, yo, we're about to go. And we didn't make it through. And the company was moving so fast, and I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. And I saw the email for the next year as time passed, and I said, now I'm just gonna kind of keep going in the direction we're going in. And it was last minute, and I was like, let's talk to my co-founder, like, you want to do this again? You know, and we did it. But this time around, after going through the mentorship program that happens after you become a semifinalist, all of these things, there wasn't as much pressure on me. It was just kind of like we submitted without the expectation of anything. You know, we had hopes, and then we gave it to the world, and we kept moving. And thankful to God, kind of, you know, obviously ended up on this side of things, but the process was very it's very rewarding, because yes, you get a check again from the time that you apply to the time that you make it through. Whether you make it through or not, you're better prepared on the other side for business. There's much more that you're going to be aware of, like made known of and aware of about your own business that you didn't know before. You'll be able to communicate your capabilities better. Your deck will be better. Your presentation will be better just by filling out the application. And then once you're through, it's a whole other story. This family is incredible. There's so much jewelry within the treasury of the finalists, the cohorts, the family. I mean, you can really change the world just amongst the people in the room. So I'm excited that you all are filling out these applications, and know that you'll be better just because you did.
And I love the fact that you both mentioned, KJ, as well, mentioned that that you applied twice. And this is always a question that we typically get. Someone asks, you know, what do you think made your application? What do you think made the difference with your application the second time around? But I think I want to kind of take this for everyone as well. What are some tips that you have for anyone who is actually putting in an application right now, whether it's their first or second time or third?
Well, I'll third that and say I got rejected the first time. And then I wasn't going to apply again. I was like, okay, I was going to concentrate on customers and thinking about something else. But I had a friend in the last cohort that you know, you probably know Tyshawn from Green Regiment. I had a friend, I was talking to him, and he's like, bro, apply, just apply, like keep applying. Like I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna apply. Like once I get rejected, I'm moving on. But he would text me like all the time, did you apply it? Did you apply yet? So I just finally applied. I was like, here, like go on, like whatever. And then I got into semifinals, got into finals, then won. I was like, wow, that was great. So I'd say, you know, definitely listen to your peers, but just on the question of like, you know, for the application, tips of the application, definitely keep the video on time. Have a lot of great energy. Now there's ChatGPT, so you can make sure that nothing is like you know, misspelled, or make sure your ideas are very clear. And if you have a very technical solution, don't sell too many features. Sell the problem, sell the traction, sell the user experience and the user testimonials of how you're solving that problem, and then focus on what you're going through. Because I think for us, like, and when we explain our solution, I think majority of the time people probably don't capture everything, but they gravitate towards the problem and the story. And that's how we're able to get into these pitch competition accelerators, because they kind of gravitate to who we are, what we're doing, what we're going for versus what we do now. And especially as an engineer, you know, you're gonna like by nature, you're just going to gravitate towards features, and you want to prove that you're the smartest. You want to prove that this is the best, and you just want to prove what's in your nature, but you're gonna have to go against that if you want thousands of people to understand what you do versus maybe just 10 out of the thousand who are also have your engineering background. So those are just good tips on how to apply and what to do for your application.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Safir. I appreciate that. And me being an engineer, I know Safir is also an engineer. And I was working with him really close during the time of the finals. Like that's the advice, especially as us as engineers need to hear, but really for anybody. Say you're an um it's maybe like a educational background. I think of it like my nephew. I have a nephew. He's like 11. And like I'm trying to explain it to him, and he's like, "Oh, so you make infinite energy?" And I'm like, "Okay, I guess." But as long as he can understand it, like that's great. That's really great. Team is huge. Really focus on your team, and I think that maybe can come from the engineering background. If you want to focus on the product features, you may not highlight your team as much. But if you're focusing on the problem, then you start to think, who's the one to solve it? You know, really a team is huge. So really you want to put behind what has your team been able to accomplish? What ventures have they had in the past? Have they had any successful exits? What has their funding looked like? Who's responsible for what? Or is there good distribution of responsibilities? I think for me, that was something just personally that I grew in, and then I highlighted in my application, and it's really helped. It's really helped. So yeah, that's my input on that.
So for my application, and I also want to say I applied 3 times. So I trump everybody on this call. I applied all 3 years in a row. The first year as a semifinalist, the second year as a finalist, but not a top prize winner. And for the third year, I was like, I wasn't sure if I was going to apply again because I was like, man, I was a semifinalist the first year, the finals the second year. I remember actually shedding tears doing my video the third time because I was like, I'm wasting my time. Why am I even doing this? Like, you probably won't get it again this year, but because I was so determined, I decided to do it anyway. And so for those who have applied multiple times, just know that you can apply 3 times in a row and still actually win top prize, be a prize winner. But I would really talk about for the application, one of the things that I think I did differently the third time was really focus on the growth that we had between the initial application and the supplementary application they ask you if you make it as a semifinalist. So in 2023, one of the new things that we added was our educational portal was something that we were working on in 2021 and 2022. Really had the funding to really do it, but we did get a little bit of funding into 2022 to actually build it. And so in 2023, when we did the initial application, we were mentioning we're working on this new EDU portal. We have our consumer side, but we're having conversations with schools. At the time, we had one school that had committed. And when we became semifinalists, I worked really hard to make sure that if we become a semifinals again, I need to prove that we made significant changes and improvements and growth in this new EDU portal. And so I was able to onboard 4 schools in that short time frame. I think the second application is like June or something. So I went from 1 school to 4 schools all in a couple of months. And I really think that helped propel us to be one of the prize winners. And so my suggestion would be when you fill out the application, just really think about, what your attraction is and what things you can highlight if you make it to the semifinalists so you can show growth even in a short period of time.
Yeah, make sure you have a viable idea and a viable product and that it can stand on something, right? I think it's important to have traction and it's important to show up and make your voice heard and give them something to look at when they hop on your socials and how can you best display yourself and tell your story when you're not in front of them and you're not speaking in real time. Like if you're leaving receipts, right? Like what do those receipts look like? How can you best speak for yourself when you're not in the room? That's visually, that's audibly, that's how you're communicating your brand, your presence, your business, your idea across platforms. But beyond that, it has to stand on something, right? That's not solid ground. That's just idea. Like, what is it sitting on? How are your systems set up? How are you thinking this through in a way that is actually viable, is investable? I think a lot of times we have really cool ideas, and if you haven't been in this space, you may not fully understand what it means to, I guess, I don't even know if investable is a word, but to be investable, right? Why would somebody want to spend money on your idea? It's so that they can help scale it, grow it, right? To generate more money so they can have their return on their investment, which makes them more, makes the company grow, makes everybody grow, right? So how does your business proposition, how does it solve that problem? How does it solve the investability problem? How are you thinking about the business in a way that will get you returns, right? Is this just a really cool idea that can help you and a subset of people, or is this like a moonshot, wild opportunity to change the world? I think when you shift your framing to focus on this being like a moonshot and Black ambition being the portal or the vehicle to launch this moonshot, it really changes your positioning and how you talk about this dream and goal. Because a lot of times I think we limit our vision. And I want you to really just think about this in a major way, right? Like you're building Disneyland, you're building the next, thing that's going to change every like 4 billion people on Earth, right? Like, what is the moonshot? What is the grand idea? And how is what you're building now supporting that idea and leading into that? So you can start from the end and work backwards to your idea and fill everything out in between. But it's really important to ensure that you're not over speaking, that you are speaking in a way like you're talking to a 12-year-old, I think like Safir mentioned, so that the communication is very clear and understanding, where if somebody was walking past and it's like, oh, what are you building? You're on an airplane, and the person next to you was like, oh, cool jacket, right? Like what's that about? How can you convey to them what it is that you're doing, what you're building, and how that can serve them, how that applies to them. And the last thing is to, give the investors real FOMO, right? I'm in the process of setting up these specific sensitive items. I plan to use the funding to maximize the outcome in these specific ways. The impact of that will be this specific thing, which will take my business to this moonshot level, which will look like this. Spell it out. Tell that story in a meaningful way.
I love it. I love it. Definitely sharing that journey or the big idea, that big bodacious goal. So this kind of goes into my next question of what I'm going to ask you all. Would you mind telling us about some of your key milestones as an entrepreneur that you're most proud of? So some of your big wins. Let's talk about that. And then I also got a question in the chat about mindset shift. So if we can kind of talk about the win and what was that mindset shift to help you get there?
Okay, win and mindset shift. So the key, KPIs for us is always getting more clients. First and foremost, I think when we won Black Ambition in 2023, we had 1 or 2 paying airports, and now those are like really small, so they were like regional to mid-size, probably had 1 to 3 million passengers. And now we just closed the Dallas Lufkin Airport, which has about 17 million passengers, and they're top 30 in the nation. So the KPI was always the growth of like, getting more either airport or enterprise clients. And I knew that like, hey, like through the Black Ambition just network, they'll push your stuff out, right? And the more clients see you on like TV or like news articles, the more they believe that you're a real company, then the more that they can trust you, right? Because I think not Y Combinator put out some statistics where like only 2.5% of every market is going to integrate a small startup solution, or in the B2B enterprise market. And with that, they're picking out who they can trust, and they need to see your face in multiple ways. So Black Ambition does a great job at marketing you to where they can build that trust within the product that you face, because you are known, and therefore put you in a better position to get more clients. So I think that is the main KPI that we have. Fundraising is always a huge thing, but my competitors raised millions and they're dead, and I'm still alive. Why? Because we've already always had revenue. So I always concentrate on revenue versus fundraising, even though we still fundraise to this day. Mindset shift, definitely from Black Ambition, was make things look nicer. I think Sami and the team, they have great pictures. I have that the first uh photo like shoot we had. I was using that picture forever. This other picture that's put up, that was a shot by somebody at a render conference, but I think this looking better presentation wise. I think as an engineer, like we're usually like gritty and like we just try to get to the product quickly, and we don't really think about like how it's shipped and how it looks good or feels good. So I think just making things look nice was a great mindset shift for me and the company, as well as like being in aviation space is not very sexy. So like we're all like, none of our applications look good across the sector. So I think that was a great thing for Black Ambition, just making things look nice. And they're backed by Louis V, so it's all about fashion and cool stuff like that. So I think that was a great thing for me.
So I'll discuss our milestones, since I think I mentioned initially when we won the prize in 2023, working with 4 schools. And right now I work with about 20 schools. And so I've been hustling really hard to get these schools. I think is really important, kind of like what everyone's been talking about, like revenue and how that's important. We raised a little bit of money. I can talk a little bit about sort of the next questions, but when I started this, I never envisioned us having a B2B model. I always only envisioned us having a consumer product model. But as people have interest in your work and your product, you expand. And so I'm really excited about that. One of the things that I always like to mention, which is something that's for the last few years that we've been listed as one of the top 10 best movie streaming services by PC Magazine. And I usually like to mention that is because we're a little baby company. All the other companies are listed on that. They're like Hulu, Netflix, Tubi, HBO Max, and us, like my company, Kuli TV, we're listed as a top 10. And we're the only Black owned, actually only Black led, Black focused platform on that list. We're the only woman owned platform, and we're the only independently owned platform that's probably not $1 billion company. And so to me, it's really exciting to know that people like the work that we're doing and believe that the mission we're doing is really important and understand the content that we're showcasing is impactful.
Yeah, for me, I would say the turning point in or the mindset shift, really uh between before winning and after. Um it was really just about myself, like really looking at like personally and understanding that I'm separate from my company. That's a huge one. That I was trying to pull it out of my subconscious. And that's it. Like especially as a founder, like you get far enough into the game, you're like, yeah, like the weekend doesn't mean anything to me. Like I wish there was no weekend. I need to talk to my suppliers. But like if you really take the time to separate yourself personally from your company, you can look at it more so how an investor would look at your company. So yeah, definitely. You would look at it more so how an investor would look at it, and that's like, what does it take to grow? Do you have the right team to grow? Are you in a big enough market? And then it's also just good for your mental health. I know a lot of founders work like a lot of hours, many 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks sometimes. If you have the time, um take a I take a quarterly vacation. I take a weekend, at least one weekend off at the end of every quarter. I just do what I got to do to clear my mind. And I could feel good about getting away because I know I'm having quarterly goals and all these things that we map out for our team. So that's definitely one that probably is the mindset shift that just helped me just grow. You're a human too. The goal is for you to whatever your goal is in success of your company. That's not the only idea you have. You'll have 100 other ideas, and any one of them after this could pop off. So just know that just try to separate yourself from this and know this isn't all you have. Like, you're so much bigger than just your company.
That's really good. I mean, I don't over-index on like the external wins, those are always going to happen, because of the work that we put in. I mean, we got a dope partnership with John Legend's brand, Loved Ones, onboarding them onto the platform, partnership with Kyrie Irving and launching his shoe, and partnerships on Music Fest, the Shade Room, Good Soil with TD Jakes. A lot of cool things that we're building, Nordstrom Soho House, but I think ultimately it's internal. Like the milestone, St. Miles milestone is how it impacts me. As KJ mentioned, as you dive further into the journey, there's a confrontation with self in a real way, and everything costs. Like every decision we make to do this, right? I always used to say I'll never be a billionaire because it costs too much, right? I have a family, I have a wife, I have 2 beautiful children. Like I refuse to spend my time on this earth working and missing the real fruits of my labor, which is at home, to build fruits of my labor, which I'll never be able to experience because I'm working too hard to be a billionaire. No billionaire is ever satisfied. They don't ever stop at a billion, by the way. I've changed my mindset around that because if God says, you know, be a billionaire, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool, we're gonna do that. However, I pay attention to what things cost and how much time I'm going to spend on the computer. How many nights am I going to stay up late and deprive myself of the beautiful simplicities of life that are right in front of me? Again, all of us are dreamers and we're futurists. We think about the future. We're building now for something to exist in the future. But I've been really focused on the present lately because everything that I want is right in front of me. It's not outside of me. It's not outside of my home. It's not outside of myself. It's actually right here. And I miss those moments in the present by jumping in the future where anxiety lives or visiting the past where depression lives. So I've learned this beautiful balance of being a founder, of being a father, of being a husband, of being a brother, of being myself, as being a child of God, as being a part of this beautiful Black ambition family. All the things that are the commas in my life, I've learned when and where to put a period, a hyphen, an exclamation point, a colon, a semicolon, an ellipsis, parentheses. I've learned my punctuation in this juncture of the journey of life so that I can enjoy these things and that it doesn't cost too much. So I'm going to get where I'm going. The inevitability of consistency is you get where you're going. Whether you fly, whether you walk, whether you take a bike, you're going to get there. But who are you going to become in the process, right? Like tomorrow is eventually going to come. But who are you going to be once you arrive? That's what I'm more focused on and less focused on the outcome because the outcome is already in motion. It's already decided. I just have to align. I always say don't chase your dreams, align your destiny because it's already there. It's just a matter of receiving what's already yours. So that's the flow that I'm in at the age that I'm at. And I encourage you to dream and to work and to toil and to let these dreams come true, but don't lose yourself in the process.
I love it. I love it. I love how it kind of all started and we had like a full circle moment, like busy, 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 work, 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 but also make sure you're keeping your eyes like in front of you. So I love that. If anyone has any questions, we are actually transitioning to the applicant question section, which we have 15 minutes. So try to keep it super short. If you have a question as well, you can drop it in the chat. Some of our founders have also started answering those questions as well. So you can also drop them in the chat as well. Maya?
Yes, Maya. Hi, everyone. I'm Maya, the founder of Karabo. I will make this short so other people can ask their questions. Congratulations to you all, and thank you for sharing your insights. For additional supporting materials, what would you recommend? More specifically, is this less is more or send as much as you want? Like, should I share my entire data room or should I just share the pitch deck and business plan? I know the application has a lot of aspects of the business plan, but would you recommend sending that in addition?
Yeah, I go first. I recommend attaching a one-pager if they'll allow an application. I haven't seen it for myself, but I always attach a one-pager to my deck because it's easily forwardable and it's a way to where some people can like adjust the information a lot easier versus like a pitch deck and it's more wordy. Some pitch decks are like more like flashy in terms of like pitching in front of crowds. Some pitch decks are affordable in terms of investment, but different people have different pitch deck styles based off which Pixar you came from. But a one page is kind of standard across the industry. So your one pager would be like a summary of that pitch deck, or it could be very use case based. But that's what I would attach, and I think they can answer their own question more than I can, because that's more of on the legal side. So I won't answer that one.
Thank you.
And I would just add like anything that's going to support a application reviewer who's never heard anything about your business. If it's going to support their understanding of your business, some of the work that you've already done, is it a case study? You know, I love the one pager because the one pager can kind of show everything. But if you have bits and pieces, you could talk about, you know, some of the work that you've already done. You don't have to go crazy with all the documentation because of how extensive the application is, but just add in the pieces that make sense. Does that help?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Khalid?
Hey, how you doing? I'm just curious for the various winners. Obviously, once you win, the process has still just begun. What are some of the biggest pivots or unexpected pivots you've had to make since winning Black Ambition, and how has that changed your business?
We had to convert to a C corp from an LLC. Just technicalities, you know, just kind of like business structure things. And we're in the middle of a rebrand as well, so that was kind of that was a whole thing. That's how I was able to say all that I said, all that internal work. That's it. That's it on our end.
Yeah, I'll say on my end, initially we built an AI tool for airlines specifically, and I had like some LOIs and some customers when I applied the first time. But when the second time came around, I've tailored more to airports and kind of scrapped the airline product or shelved it for now. Let's see what happens in the future. But focus more on the airports. It got me more traction, so that's the way that I pivoted, or we pivoted towards a more airport focused solution to gain more traction, and it kind of helped with the storytelling a bit more because I was able to focus on that core customer, and I was able to relate what we do to people outside the aviation industry. So it's kind of how we pivoted as we're moving forward in the application process.
I love it. We have a few questions in the chat as well. Did anyone else have any questions? You can come off mute. Someone's asking, did you provide your financials?
I think that was pretty it was like certain like data roomish financials would be like projection of like a financial projection, like a 3 year, 5 or 10. Yeah, but I think for this there were just certain questions they asked um in terms of what funding have you raised, or what was your last month revenue, or so it's not kind of like you're doing a data room, but just be very have the answers to the key questions like what's your last 3 months revenue, what's your funding raise, and really think thoroughly about that as you write the answers. But it's just very focused answers, focused and, in my opinion, concise.
Yeah, and I think if you need to explain through maybe that there's a context to like maybe why you have lower revenue month in 1 month and the other, there was growth and there was a decline. I think that if you can speak to that in a way that makes sense for your business, perhaps you stop subscriptions or you change the business model or the economy changes, some way to kind of speak through that is helpful as well.
Yeah, I said just make sure that your numbers make sense from revenue perspective, projected revenue, your current clients, what's in the pipeline. Because I mean, in terms of like early stage investors, they're not, well, a lot of them not super strict on like having making like hundreds of thousands of dollars right now, or you know, like $500,000 right now. But it's more of like how you're projecting that story. And if somebody researches it, right, does the numbers coincide with what you're telling me or the story that you're telling me? And that's from your financial projections, your current revenue, and your TAM, right? Everything has to just fit in one kind of bucket, if that makes sense.
Got it. We have another question. Someone is asking, how has the mentorship, demo day, and the overall experience with Black Ambition challenged you as a leader, or your leadership styles, or the operations of your business?
The mentorship program was probably one of the best aspects of being a part of this program. And I did it 3 years in a row, so I got I got a lot of mentorship. My first mentor was actually Shane, and I think he's over the mentorship program right now. And so he was probably one of the best mentors I've ever had for my entire life. So I always tell people, even if you don't become a prize winner, like don't sleep on being a semifinalist because there are a lot of nuggets, a lot of opportunities there. For my particular experience, Shane went over and beyond like a typical mentor. Like he connected us with other potential funders. Actually, one of the funders, the first year that I applied that I didn't win, he connected us with a potential investor that we actually got money from that following year. We got $100,000 from an investor from Shane introducing us. And I end up pitching at their event and at this investor's event the following year, I got another $75,000. So even before I won Black Ambition Prize, just the semifinals and being part of the mentorship program, I got an additional $175,000 just for being present. And so the mentorship program, always be present if you become a semifinalist. The people, the caliber of mentors and other guests who come to speak when you're a semifinalist in the mentorship program, it's like top notch. You're connected with people who are part of your industry, and so you're able to connect with them and potentially even partner with them. And so for me, that was a really, really impactful part of being a part of Black Ambition.
Yeah, just to add to that, a big thing was delegation. You know, and as a leader of your business, you'll have to delegate more and more. So defining roles like, or I just got a VP of engineering a couple months before we got into the semifinals and started going through the mentorship pods. So I was learning how to delegate certain tasks to him around product development, product delivery, and also with an operations manager that I have. So that was huge, just so I could kind of take a deep breath and know, like, okay, we have assigned tasks and we're working towards our goals, and everybody, I'm checking in on everybody's health too. I don't got to feel guilty about going to X meetings. Like, this is what a CEO should be doing. They should be selling the vision of their company, doing business development, raising money. You shouldn't feel guilty about that if you're doing your business right. Because you know you got the things taken care of. So that was good. Yeah. And the mentorship pods themselves, they definitely challenged us. That's where I kind of learned in that pod was like, you know, we are bigger than our companies. That's some of the things, the themes we talked about in our pods. And definitely like DeShuna was saying, like, just be aware when you're there, wherever part you are, be aware of what's in front of you, around you. There's a lot of opportunities in front of you. You know, so take advantage of them all and shake everyone's hand, learn what everyone's doing, connect with them. You know, you never know what partnerships could come just from networking.
Definitely. Demi, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, hello. Thank you all so much for spending this time with us. My question was related to kind of what you just talked about. I was wondering for any of the prize winners if you built your team through connections from Black Ambition or from those who have applied again, how you found team members as you were reapplying and kind of what happened between those years that you reapplied.
Yeah, I'll answer that too. I like that question. So you in many businesses, I think there's like three things, at least three pillars. There's like the executive kind of like CEO, like decision making, business development, vision selling, fundraising person. Then there's maybe like a VP of sales or somebody who's really going out feet in the street, targeting customers, hearing the customers, selling to the customers. And then there's like operations, which consists of many different things, but like, you know, like product fulfillment, product delivery, company documentation and stuff like that. And then there's some other roles, marketing, or other things, you know. But those, you want to make sure you have those covered and like they're good, like probably better than you, to be honest. That's how I look at it. Like my business development leader, he's raised and funded and exited over $400 million in companies in his career. And I specifically remember looking at that. A couple years back, I'm like, I need to have somebody with at least $100 million in exits. So just look for that and don't be afraid to talk to those people, you know. And Pharrell always says you gotta be ambitious, so it means put yourself around ambitious people. But like once you get around them, like you got to show them you're ambitious. Like, and you may not have everything figured out, but like if somebody gives me advice about, hey, change a pitch deck. Oh, this person raised $15 million. I have the pitch deck changed in 30 minutes and get it right to them. Like that's how I think. I'm like, this person is like telling me the code. They're sharing the codes. So just really take advantage of those moments and show those people you're hungry, and then you will be able to attract them to your team.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that too. Like in terms of team members, it's always great to have a co-founder. I know people like sometimes take a little longer to have a co-founder. It took me a couple years to find a good amount of team members, but you know, the more team members that you have on the cap table, it de-risks the startup, right? And every early stage investor, every accelerator is going to look for some type of team because people with teams just execute much faster, right? Like you could think like you're the best coder, you're the best salesman, you're the best operations, but if I have a conference I have to go to for like customers in Milwaukee, but there's a fundraising conference in San Francisco, right? And there's an engineering bug that needs to be fixed. It's going to take me a week, right? You need 3 different people to solve those tasks simultaneously. Now you might have the ability, but you're not ever going to have the time, right? So that's just a good way to think about it, but it's not like Y Combinator to where like you're forced to like, oh, we got to split it damn near 50-50 or like 60-40 or like you go in or go out, but you just have something, and I feel like that's good enough to apply for.
Okay, and we are at our 4 o'clock mark. Panelists, let me know if I can take one more question. We good? All right, Jay, I see your hand is raised. Let's go.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good.
Good. Well, my name is Jai Lau, founder and owner of the Jeweliverse. It's a creative fashion ecosystem. I was reaching out to see what is a good number of slides for a pitch deck to submit.
I would say like 15 is good. You don't want dissertation, you don't want the slide deck to be so long that you kind of lose the investor. You don't want, but you do want all the important information. So I typically have about, 15 slides, the problem, the solution. I include my traction. I include go-to market, a little bit about the customer, and then my team. So those are the most important aspects of the deck that you should definitely include, as well as who are your target customers as well, and how large is your target audience.
Yeah, and I see my pitch deck is around like 15 to 16 slides, but I only have 12 as my main slides, and I put the rest as my appendix. Because I know like a lot of people you send decks to are just going to skim through it. Black Ambition will really like read it and have several people read it as well. But just a rule of thumb, if somebody's going to read like 3 or 4 of your slides, right? What are like 12 or like 10 that they're going to really focus on, and then if they want more information, they'll read the appendix. But that's kind of how I organize it in general for all the investors that I talk to.
I want to make one more point. Don't make it too wordy. I see a lot of decks that's like a lot of words, and sometimes investors have to dig through it. Big bold words, bullet points are really important so people can find the most important things very quickly.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback.
Perfect. All right, that was our last question. I want to ask our amazing panelists, do we have any parting wisdom that you want to leave with anyone who's considering applying, or they have applied before and they're discouraged now, right? We've gotten a lot of those comments as well. Just some parting wisdom, and we'll hop off of here.
Yeah, I say just keep applying. Just keep applying. Have amnesia. As a founder, you need to have amnesia to when you get rejected. Just don't think about it. Pretend like it never happened. Look at the application, say, "Oh my God, what's this?" And just forget everything in the past and look forward to the future and just keep applying it. You'll figure it out.
If you
Ditto.
are applying
Ditto.
again, oh, sorry, you want to go? Sorry.
Oh no, go DeShuna. I'm just saying ditto. I agree. Like that's just put it up and keep on working. Lil Baby said, all I know is put it up and keep on working. Like, forget about it. And even if you get it, it's just the wind under your wings. So just go, just keep going. Remember why you started. Always remember why you started and just keep going. That's my biggest advice.
I was gonna just add, don't see it as a loss, even though I did see it as a lesson, because every time I apply, the application will become better, and you become a better person, you become a better founder by applying, by thinking through your application more, by making it better, about making your business better.
He said it when I was writing my first book. I asked the most important people in my life, if you were on your deathbed, what's the one thing you would say to me? And I was able not only to have that information for myself, but to share it with others. And my grandfather said, fail until you succeed. And I thought that was very strange. Like, he's embracing failure, like fail until, and I looked at his life and I said, oh, okay, I get it. And it's really the notion that, hey man, failure is just an L is a lesson. So there's no such thing as a loss as long as you're in the game, and failure is just a sign that you're actually on the field and not in the sidelines talking. So embrace failure, accept it, look for it, get it out the way. It's gonna happen, so go ahead and get that thing out the way and get to the win. And when the win happens, keep working like you're failing. You know what I'm saying? Like, stack it up, put your head down, stack it, and then eventually when you look up, you're suddenly a billionaire.
Come on now, that's the process right there. You look up and then all the zeros are in that bank account. But
No,
no,
see, more importantly, you've served and serviced community. You've been on assignment that is God given. That's the most important thing. The money is whatever that comes with the territory. Just want to add that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyone, if you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to us at info@blackambitionprize.com. We also will have some working sessions. If you're working on your application, follow us on Instagram. On Wednesdays, our community manager, Christine, hosts work sessions so you can work on the application together. And then also on Tuesdays, I will have Ask Me Anything sessions as well. I'll add the link to those in the email that goes out along with this video. But in the meantime, thank you all so much. Thank you to our amazing panelists for coming on, sharing their insight, their experience, their journey, and just encouraging everyone to keep going. This has been an amazing, session. I feel like I need to put my application in at this point. But thank you all so much. And until then, we'll see you all soon. All right.
Good luck.